The Japanese invasion of Manchuria began on September 18, 1931, when the Kwantung Army of the Empire of Japan invaded Manchuria immediately following the Mukden Incident. At the war's end in February 1932, the Japanese established the puppet state of Manchukuo. Their occupation lasted until the success of the Soviet Union and Mongolia with the Manchurian Strategic Offensive Operation in mid-August 1945, towards the end of the Second World War. The South Manchuria Railway Zone and the Korean Peninsula had been under the control of the Japanese Empire since the Russo-Japanese War of 1904 to 1905. Japan's ongoing industrialization and militarization ensured their growing dependence on oil and metal imports from the U.S. The U.S. sanctions, which prevented trade with the United States, which had occupied the Philippines around the same time, resulted in Japan furthering its expansion in the territory of China and Southeast Asia. The invasion of Manchuria, or the Marco Polo Bridge Incident of July 7, 1937, are sometimes cited as an alternative starting dates for World War II, in contrast with the more commonly accepted date of September 1, 1939. With the invasion having attracted great international attention, the League of Nations produced the Lytton Commission, headed by British politician Victor Bulwer-Lytton, to evaluate the situation, with the organization delivering its findings in October 1932. Its findings and recommendations that the Japanese puppet state of Manchukuo not be recognized and the return of Manchuria to Chinese sovereignty prompted the Japanese government to withdraw from the League entirely. The conquest of Manchuria, a land rich in natural resources, was widely seen as an economic lifeline to save Japan from the effects of the Great Depression, generating much public support. The American historian Louise Young described Japan from September 1931 to the spring of 1933 as gripped by war fever as the conquest of Manchuria proved to be an extremely popular war. The metaphor of a lifeline suggested that Manchuria was crucial to the functioning of the Japanese economy, which explains why the conquest of Manchuria was so popular and why afterwards Japanese public opinion was so hostile towards any suggestion of letting Manchuria go. At the time, censorship in Japan was nowhere near as stringent as it later became, and Young noted, had they wished, it would have been possible in 1931 and 1932 for journalists and editors to express anti-war sentiments. The liberal journal Keiso criticized the war with the journalist Goto Shinobu in the November 1931 edition, accusing the Kwantung Army of a twofold coup d'état against both the government in Tokyo and against the government of China. Voices like Keiso were a minority as mainstream newspapers like the Asahi soon discovered that an anti-war editorial position hurt sales, and so switched over to an aggressively militaristic editorial position as the best way to increase sales.